Testing, 1, 2, 3. Obviously, we broke a bike, but it's okay.
Luckily, we didn't break on the dyno.
We didn't break on the dyno. We got a little excited and see what we can do and see if we can just do things the easy way.
Never stop, I'll get it if I want it. Gotta make to myself a promise. I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top.
Yo, no, I ain't the type to give up.
Hey, another episode of Corner Speed, and we're here at AF1 Racing, 9900 Austin, Texas, off I-35. And as you see right here, we have another Aprilia riding by right here. Beautiful bikes, but today we're gonna do a shootout. My two BMWs versus the Motovation RSV4 factory Aprilia. Who do y'all think gonna win? Me personally, I'm a little biased. I really do think the RSV4 is gonna win this just because it's a more powerful, it's 1100, and at the same time, I don't trust Nate at Motovation because he probably put race fuel or something in his bike, but you know what, who cares? We just wanna see the baseline numbers to see how much power each bike is making, and really it doesn't matter. I still love my BMWs, but I think all these bikes are great bikes. But the one thing I ask y'all lovely people to do is start subscribing so y'all can continue to be alerted from some of the information that we're putting out there, but at the same time, comment, shoot us messages, follow the IG page. Just give us some more inspiration and more content that you may want to see, or if we can find the answers, we definitely would love to do that for you because we have a lot of information that we want to give y'all, but at the same time, there may be some information that y'all are looking for. And last but not least, don't be surprised if I add an Aprilia to the fleet. The Street Fighter is still for sale, but that does not mean that I will not be looking for another bike. So stay tuned. Let's go check out Brent. He will be the one doing the dyno testing.
Here at Motovation, customer service is paramount. Our knowledgeable staff is available to help you navigate the sometimes confusing world of customizing your motorcycle. We've curated a selection of top brands and we stand behind every product we sell. We got the parts you need. We stock a ton of parts and offer free shipping on orders over $149. And if you place your order by noon, we'll ship your in-stock items same day. Check out the website or contact us if you have any questions about your next purchase.
Well, we're back here. We're with Brent, the man behind the plan, the guy that was doing all the tuning, or what I like to say, the dynoing. Brent, just give us a little idea, like, tell us what we did. I mean, I sat there, I watched the whole situation, the whole thing go down, but I mean, watching you with the controls and, I guess you were warming up the bike, setting things up. Just tell us a little about exactly what you did to basically get this baseline on all these bikes today.
Okay. Well, basically the dyno, we have a big dyno. A bunch of us here have a bunch of experience on that dyno, and honestly, everybody in the world thinks they're for horsepower, peak horsepower. Pin it, see how much power it makes. That's what sells bikes. And that's true in the retail world, but the reason why we got this dyno is most of the time we use it just for fixing stuff. Rideability problems, finding oil leaks, whatever. But we also use it for tuning. We can do pretty cool things with tuning. You can hold the bike at any RPM you want, any throttle position you want, tune it, whatever. But nowadays everything's just so software, computer, all this stuff. So it's basically just flash this, flash that, pull your ECU off, send it in the mail, whatever. But so we thought it'd be interesting to take two big brands, two big competitive brands that fight each other all the time, and see. Let's do the old school peak power runs and see what we could get out of them.
Round 1, fight.
You lose all your momentum, it hesitates like that. especially up at that RPM, you basically just shut the motor off.
So it's just catching up.
Big V twins, man. He just pulls right out of that stuff.
Yeah.
Basically, get on there and you teach the dyno what bike's on the dyno. Do your full throttle run. We do it in 6 gears. It's easier on the tire, easier on the bike. It allows the dyno kind of to monitor the bike in a much more smoother, linear way. Less wheel spin, stuff like that, and helps with a lot more of an accurate horsepower number. And remember, this is full throttle from 4,000 RPM all the way just before the rev limiter, and it spits out a number. Our dyno, on most cases, reads a solid, probably 15 to 20% less than like a dyno jet or dyno would read. So these numbers are probably more realistic than what you would see in catalogs and brochures and stuff like that. And basically set it up, pin it, dyno takes over, holds the bike down. They have what they call load control. And it slowly lets the engine rev all the way and then brings it back down, and we compare numbers between the bikes, the brands and everything.
Round 2, fight.
The Brent tune, just because it's like everybody was blowing their fucking motor, so we was just doing the safest thing possible. So you talked about when we was doing the dyno, and you saw in the BMW, you saw where you said it was smoother. Yeah. And I think I talk about that a lot when people ask me, I ride a Ducati, I ride a BMW, and I say something about the BMW, it allows me and it programs me to think that I can do more because I feel like it's so much smoother.
A lot of that's engine platform. I mean, that's an inline 4. It's not like the R1 with the, the uneven firing order and all that. The V4s, you got a little bit more torque in the V4 and all that. So it's a little bit, it hits a little bit harder. It's a lot more brutal, I guess you could say. When the BMW is just smooth and it just revs real nice, and the bottom end's a lot more tameable, I guess you could say. And then once you get into that peak, it just peaks and goes and goes and goes. So when you get up in the peak power, then it becomes a little bit more of an animal, where these are pretty much animals from the bottom all the way to the top.
And again, I tell people all the time, everybody has their personal preference and what they like and what they prefer. They're all great bikes. And so when I saw you doing something with the mouse and things like that, do you have to set different parameters for different bikes? I know sometimes certain bikes have different rev limiters and things of that nature. So do you have to do anything specific when it comes to the two BMWs versus when it came to the RSV4?
Yeah, because we have what they call TAC ratio. So a lot of like the dyno jet, even this dyno, we could do it. You can monitor the RPMs directly off the ignition coil, but we're not set up that way. So we would do what they call TAC ratio, is basically rear miles per hour in 6th gear versus what TAC on the dash is doing. You can actually set it. So at 120 miles an hour, it's exactly 9,000 RPM on the dash, and that gives you a more accurate, horsepower rating. It's, at 120 miles an hour, it's making 130 horsepower, versus at 9,000 RPM, it's making 130 horsepower. But it all, in the dyno has its own software, its own math and everything, so it spits it out as if we were monitoring off the tech. So you have to set that, and there's a process of doing that. And the other thing that we set is the correction factor, which is the weather. I think today was what, like 81 degrees and like 75% humidity. And that's all used for, let's say we ran the BMW today and then we ran your other BMW 3 weeks from now. You set the weather from 3 weeks from now versus today, and if you don't correct it, the horsepower numbers can be astronomically different, even though they're the same exact bike. So what that does, it just kind of evens everything out and makes, levels the playing field for the most part.
Final round. Fight!
Now, we tried 2 different mappings with this bike. Can
Yeah,
you
well,
explain what those 2 were?
Yeah, so I talked to Nick about this, and they did the Gabbro velocity stack kit on this with the Sprint air filters. Opens up the airbox quite a bit, and they only had the standard Aprilia racing map, which is basically stock airbox with a slip-on. I believe this bike, correct me if I'm wrong, has the full system, SC Project full system with the airbox kit, velocity stack, well not the airbox kit, but the velocity stacks. And we went ahead and took one of Gabbro's map that's specific for his velocity stacks and put it in there. And the peak power was what, like 2 horsepower, I think? But across the rev range from bottom to top, it was 3 to 4 more through that. And that's where you want that extra power, is in the lower. We don't really use 12,000 RPM very often. We use, 6 to 11,000 on the track. And that's where you want your gains to be, is in that usable zone. So, and we don't measure like full throttle or half throttle or anything like that. So. But if you're in the turn and you go into that full lock throttle, you want that 8, 9, 10, 11. That's where you want your power.
So let me ask this is maybe my last question when it comes to this. If I was to buy an Aprilia, what do you recommend that I do to make this bike for the track? Like, right, just something simple. Average people buy the bike and then they're trying to figure out, what do I do? What would you suggest?
I do exactly what Motovation did. You do the velocity stack kit, do the Gabbro map. A full system's beneficial, but not necessary. Necessary. That's really it. Put a set of slicks on it. Maybe change the gearing depending on where you're going. That's about it.
What about the rear sets?
Yeah, rear sets.
Rear sets.
Maybe some suspension. So maybe a cartridge kit or something like that. Especially if you've got your size, you probably want to.
What are we trying to say? I'm
tune
fat?
in the suspension a little bit.
He said, hey,
You're just bigger.
Did you just call me fat?
You're just bigger
He said,
than most
yeah.
guys. No, because these are set up for 180 pound, like Nick over there. So.
He said, Nick over there. Nick, I hope you're 180 pounds. I thought you were more like 170. 165.
I actually backed off your forks a little bit because they were stiff. So.
I'm 230, but okay.
You're 230? Man,
Yeah,
I'm 230.
huh?
Yeah, we're about the same.
We just carry a little different, but it's okay.
I was burying those forks though.
Yeah. No, you had 12 turns of rebound or preload in them. So you're overpowering your rebound, so I slowed that down a little bit. So.
Oh, so you trying to help him be faster? I got you. Nick, you trying to get you caught up?
Well, that was interesting.
Definitely.
Well, I got one other thing I want to try. If you want to check it out, I got one basically stock V4 on the floor. Throw it on there and see what it'll do.
All right, let's go check that out.
Show you what it looks like. I don't know if it's going to be nothing like that. Sweet looking carbon bike though, Jesus.
I mean, end of the day, if the bike does anything, it looks better.
Yeah.
I mean, Motivation Bike did just copy the Trackhouse Racing.
That sounds good, at least. All right, so where is it at? This one right here. RSV4 Extrenta. It's number 50 of 100. Out of the box, Aprilia Racing. Non-street legal. We need to throw this on the dyno, see what it should do. Stock bike.
I mean, I did say that the BMW looked better, but yeah, this bike here, and this is stock.
Bone stock.
Bone stock, out the crate. This is what you get when you pay for this.
Out of the crate. Minus a couple stickers.
Let's go check it out then.
All right, grab that rear stand. Sweet paint job.
Yeah, your original V4 that Carlos has now?
Bro.
This goes back to when we talk about like being a quote unquote like a fan or something. Like I tried to sell this guy over here a RSV4. He didn't want it. He wanted the Yamaha because Kyle Wyman rode it. And now all of a sudden he's telling me with the BMW, I should get rid of my BMW because he just got infatuated with the fact that the Aprilia beat the BMW. I understand, but it doesn't mean jump ship to what's winning. It doesn't mean that.
The BMWs were slouches, but not by much, all in the very top end peak. Mm-hmm. Other than that, in the mid range where you actually use the power, they're very respectable between the four of them. Only way you probably would notice between the four would be like if the back straight at Coda was another half a mile longer, the Aprilias would start pulling away.
Gotcha.
But by then you're going to be 6th gear on the Revolutor anyways. So that's why even on the racetrack you don't really notice it.
So the thing I saw also is with the Extrenta. Now that right there kind of shocked me a lot. Just the fact of it's, I guess you'll call it a factory bike because you buy it exactly from the factory and it comes pretty much track ready.
It's a track back out of the box.
So explain to us when you get your traditional RSV4 and then you have the Extrenta, what is the difference in those two bikes?
Oh man, it's a huge difference.
Huge difference?
So the Motovation bike is basically a street bike. California, I guess you call it California legal, emissions legal, buy it, comes with the title, register it right on the bike, right on the street, like a car. Extrenta is basically the Motovation bike torn down and built into a factory spec race bike. I mean, it's got different brakes on it. It doesn't have no emission stuff on it. There's exhaust on it you can't even buy publicly. It's got its own tuning. It's got its own engine work. It's got its own special dashboard, everything on it. I mean, the bike is its own bike, basically. And I mean, there's only 100 of them in the whole world. You can't street legal them. Basically, you buy a factory-built race bike from Aprilia Racing. These, you just buy it at the showroom, the dealer, anywhere in the country, and bolt as much as you can on it, but it'll be nothing like the Extreme.
So would you recommend your I guess I'll say this: would you recommend your traditional track riders, or would you say that you got to have a little bit more?
Yeah,
You need to know more of what you're doing to own Extrenta.
Yeah, you're gonna need to know what you should be an advanced rider on Extrenta for sure.
Okay.
You don't want to be. Not only do you need to have a
Because
pretty healthy
you know
wallet,
how
but-
some guys, but you know how some guys buy things.
I mean, there's stuff out there that's equivalent,
Yeah.
like Superbike or something like that, but you're spending twice the money for something.
I understand. I just know some people, because of pockets and things, they're able to afford certain things. But sometimes I look at those bikes, and people are like, "Hey, Mike, why don't you go get one?"
I mean,
to me, my personal level is I don't think I'm that capable of rider of being able to. I don't think I need that. I think I can graduate and work my way up to something like that. But I don't think you just go out there and just get one.
Extrenta's unique. Not to bash on the bike. I mean, it's a beautiful bike. It's the perfect track bike. But it's just not something that I'd be taking to the track day on a regular basis. It'd be a one-off thing. I don't know. There's a lot of responsibility riding that bike because there are a lot of parts on it you can't get.
Oh, I heard about
It's an
the fairings alone.
Just the rear sprocket. The rear sprocket's titanium, and they won't sell us a new one. They just put a stock one back on it. Basically, you're going to buy this bike that's top of the line, best thing in the world, but as things break down on it, as you use it, crash it, whatever, you're just going back to the street bike slowly.
So it's more of a collector's.
Unless you're dishing out some big money to get those parts.
Gotcha. So when we ran the numbers, how close, or were you shocked on how close?
I was actually surprised by how much better the Extrenta was than the RSV4.
And explain to us about the power. Was it pretty much the same or more on one bike, or?
The Extrenta was more across the board, but we're talking like 3-4 horsepower. Peak power, what they were, was it six more at top? So it was definitely, you notice it on the straightaway for sure. If you got those two side by side, it would be very slow. It weighs different, the arrow's better on it, stuff like that. But
was it smoother, or?
Oh yeah, the mapping on that Extrenta with that exhaust is just probably the smoothest bike you probably ever ride. I don't know, man. These bikes, I've ridden these bikes bone stock on the track, and they're just as fun as a tricked out one.
Tell me about it. That's why I think y'all stay tuned. Sooner or later, I may have one in the stable. Just the fact of, I finally rode one for the first time at the Aprilia Racer Day right after MotoGP, and I actually fell in love with the bike, and it was bone stock. So I'm definitely going to use your advice, and I guess I suggest that I come to you to do everything, because if it doesn't work, I'm blaming you.
Okay.
I'm just blaming you.
Deal.
But I appreciate everything. Thanks for everything.
Yeah. Griffin.
Thank y'all very much. Thank you for tuning in. And hopefully, if y'all have any other questions, if y'all have any suggestions, if anything you want to see and we're able and capable of doing for you, please let us know. We like to start having our viewers' input. We're starting to see the numbers go up, but at the same time, we like to try to give more exciting things to the viewership. But again, we are open, good, bad, whatever it is. Leave your comments, some inputs, whatever it is. Email us, DM us, whatever it may be, wherever you want to do to contact us. And by the way, the one thing I'm hoping, and I'm saying this right now, please, Jorge Martin, I did get your shades. Please go to Aprilia next year, because I really think that you can do some great things on the Aprilia bike and start a whole new dynasty when it comes to Aprilia. Thank y'all very much for tuning in.